they rebooted Animaniacs, proving once and for all that the 2010s are the biggest mistake in American history. Okay, I will relent and say that yes, technically this came out in 2020. However, it has come to my attention that they have been working on this since 2018. They themselves even admit that they were working on it in 2018. Therefore, I am counting it as a 2010s reboot, and therefore I am putting it on my long list of bullet points for why this decade was terrible and we need to just start over and reboot. I'm probably not going to put it up there with the big shit like, the Trump presidency and the internet becoming significantly more politically correct and therefore significantly less fun. And I'm probably going to put it more along the lines of things like, fidget spinners and the entire music industry being dominated by 13-year-old robots who don't know how to enunciate and talk incessantly about Gucci products. I don't know, I guess I'm just more of an Armani guy, but just still, whatever. So yeah, they rebooted Animaniacs, and I was already cynical about how this was going to turn out. And yet I got talked into watching it anyway because, well, nostalgia. I admit I liked Animaniacs. Admittedly, even when it was on and airing new episodes, I didn't like everything about the Animaniacs. I hated the Hip Hippos. I weirdly enough did not get into Slappy the Squirrel until much later on in life. I guess, let's see, it was 1993, so I would have been 8 or 9 possibly. 8-year-old, 9-year-old me probably just didn't have an appreciation for meta humor like 35-year-old me does, so that could explain it. The only thing I know about this show was that it was a reboot, so they were going to have to update some of the animation techniques because nobody uses cell animation anymore. The only things I could really guarantee right out the gate was that this was probably going to look like it was done in either Flash or like a really cheap animation program, because I don't know if they still use Flash, but I've heard a couple of other programs that make really cheap animation and they have a really bad reputation as a result, and I had a feeling we were going to be seeing the Animaniacs made in that, which thankfully, if they did go that route, it's not very noticeable, at least to my blind ass, but in any case. I'm also not surprised they made some Trump jokes, they made some Russian hacker jokes, and what have you, because that's just the zeitgeist we live in now. So obviously, if we're going to have one of those shows that punches up and makes no apologies, then obviously we're going to talk about that sort of thing. Obviously, we had to remake the theme song so that it fit the modern zeitgeist as well. We're Animaniacs. Dot's a strong and independent woman with a 3-dimensional personality who wants to break the glass ceiling and not let the man hold her down because she's so strong and independent. And Yakko yaks. Wacko whacks away the stacks. Something about Donald Trump. We're Animaniacs. Meet Pinky and the Brain who want to rule the universe. No one else came back. Something, next verse. Whatever. But actually, yeah, that is one of the more perplexing decisions that they made, was that they didn't bring back any of the other sketches. Like, okay, I'm glad they didn't bring back the Hip Hippos, and I guess not a lot of people like Chicken Boo, and I can't blame them. I know honest-to-God people that were really not fond of that sketch, and I can see why they got rid of it, but come on, man. Good Feathers, I like those guys. Rita and Runt, those were my favorites too, Oh, but relax, because they brought back Pinky and the Brain. I mean, Lord knows they were like the most popular sketch on Animaniacs, aside from, the Warners themselves. So popular, in fact, that they got their own spin-off show, and it's basically what you expect. It's Pinky and the Brain, but like a TV show, which is always cool. But then they got brought back for the Animaniacs, and they were the only ones who got brought back for the Animaniacs, which I see why, but simultaneously I'm puzzled by. As I said before, I went into this reboot skeptical as all hell, but at the end of the day, it wasn't terrible. In fact, it wasn't even bad. I mean, okay, it did have a couple of things that I wasn't fond of, like bun control or Manny Manspreader. Oh my god. I need to just go on a quick little rant right now, because seriously, I can't think of anything in the current zeitgeist or in past zeitgeists alike that is an even bigger non-issue than this whole thing everybody has against manspreading. I could go on a rant about how maybe you should develop testicles and then see what it's like trying to sit down. Or I could even make an excuse and say that, like, maybe I'm spreading my legs out on the bus because I don't want anybody to sit next to me, because I hate human beings and I wish you would all just leave me the fuck alone. But frankly, if I did that, I would just be contributing to the problem. This is such a non-issue, and if this is the thing that's bugging you and driving you insane and completely ruining your weekend, maybe pick up a newspaper and get a little perspective on the world sometime, BuzzFeed. Okay, rant done. I'm officially canceled. Aside from those issues, though, this reboot is actually pretty watchable, and I did not hate most of my time with it. I mean, the humor, despite being more modern, is also still very reminiscent of the Animaniacs of old. Dot still sounds like Dot, Wacko still sounds like Wacko. Unfortunately, Yakko sounds like a more elderly Ron... Is it Ron Paulson or Rob Paulson? But either way, it doesn't really sound like the Yakko I know, and it sounds more like the guy doing an impression of Yakko, which is weird because he is Yakko. It's kind of hard to explain, just Yakko's voice is way off to me, but I really can't blame him for that because I feel like it's one of those issues like the ravages of age and it can't be helped. But even when he doesn't quite sound like Yakko, he still acts like Yakko, and all three of them have the same dynamic, and it's really, really funny most of the time, and I've really enjoyed the show. Does it hold a candle to the original? Well, by virtue of being a reboot, no. But as it stands, I've definitely seen worse reboots out there, and honestly, I'm looking forward to season 2, if only because I'm very interested in seeing what they come up with. I mean, it can't get any worse than Manny Manspreader, am I right? Oh my god. Bottom line, it's not perfect, but I've definitely seen worse. Overall, I regret the fact that I don't have half hats in my system because this is definitely one of those times where I would take advantage of that. However, I'm going to be generous and I'm going to give this thing 3 hats out of 4. And that's going to do it for this week's... I don't have a name for this show, just that I review stuff on Hulu. But join me next time when I take a look at something else, and if you like what you see, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell to show you mean it. Follow me on Twitter at Teal Hat, and I will see you guys next time.